I've never had that much trouble getting on. I'm going to go back and count how many times I had to call in before I actually got a line, which is unusual. Once or twice, that's fine. But I think I was up to about 15 or so, and then when I did get on, music looked like it was playing, but I wasn't hearing anything, so I had to log back out and log back in. So we've been having a hell of a time. So the first, 7 minutes of the show, first, I guess, 4 minutes got chewed up just doing that, and I started actually logging in at about 10 too. Anyway, welcome to Outside the Box. That's your host, Kate of Gaia, and you're special. I have brought Karen into the call here, and it's showing that she's busy, so I'm not sure if we have some wires crossed or whatever, but anyway, we'll go with the flow here. Yeah, buck up, little camper, indeed. I do pay attention to my Skype all through the show, and of course the messages. I'm actually a multitasker of multitasking. Gemini, there's two of me. Get over it. I just wish there was actually another one or two that would be helpful. And I think what I put out it's funny. I talk about it the other night, and then I dreaded having to put anything together in terms of asking for help. That's the prideful bitch that I am. Used to being the one helping everybody else, but there you go. I actually put something up on Facebook, so I just want people to know how much that really just runs me the wrong way to do that. I don't know if it's pride or what it is. Maybe I don't want to be looked at as, well, there's someone just digging. No, it's not me at all. You want that, well, you can go to Freedom Reigns and you can get that kind of business there. Oh, did I say Freedom Reigns out loud once? Freedom Reigns twice? 3 times, actually, Freedom Reigns. Anyway, so I'm going to head over to the chat room, a.k.a. my Facebook page. Almost where it ends up. Where are we here? Let me just get scrolling down here. See, we got, hey, Blake, loud and clear, thanks. Good, my friend. And yeah, it's not good when the show does begin with silence, Vince. You're absolutely correct. And of course, Otis, you're here. It wouldn't be a show without you, my friend. You and me, everybody, we're all going to go drinking one day. Hey, John, how are you? Glad to see you as well. So there we go. Now we have a chat room. So just head over to kate.renee.5 on Facebook. Just go to my main page. You'll see it. It's the one where everybody is posting. So, okay. Anyway, so like I said, I'm waiting to hear from Karen, and where are we? I know pride's bad. That's why I hate it. It's one of those things that I have to deal with. It's okay to want to help people and be frustrated when you can't. You end up being the one on the other end of it. But I suppose that's probably one of the lessons I need to learn, and I'm really sucking at it. But the good news, with the post I put up, the first individual of concern has now got a package ready to go and on the way to her with some most important life-saving elements that are in it in terms of naturopath and healing oils and whatnot. A big thank you to Sandy for putting that together and making that connection possible so that we could do that. Next concern, of course, and I know Tony's going to get all over my ass about this for even bringing it up. He's a lot like me in that regard. But when it comes down to the very survival of ourselves, I think it gets to that push or shove point. And I know I come across the radio as this, powerful being all the time. That's who I am. It's very difficult to actually get a notion that I might actually need help too. But the fact is, I do, and I asked, and there you go. And we'll just leave it at that. So anybody that wants to get in on the chat room here, kate.renee.5, kate.rene.5, and join in, and we'll have some chit chat while I'm waiting for Karen to get here. And there we go in the Love and Stuff room. Yes, of course, big sunshines. That was the whole purpose of it. I am so far from perfect. Well, if you spell it P-U-R-R, maybe, but the P-E-R one, I got a long way to go on that, and that's why I do these shows. These are therapy for me, and as much as they're therapy for everybody else. And I gotta be honest. I'm always honest. I'm blatantly honest. I'm probably more honest than I'd like to be most days, to the point of being rude. Just ask a lot of people that know me. I think they can attest to that one. Besides, I have the heavens testifying for me. My ascendant is Leo, which makes me a roaring lion of sorts, I guess. And of course, Two-Spirit had to be Gemini, so that was just a coincidence, though. My initials had to be WKT, just had to be that, and it's just a coincidence that I was born on the day the Magna Carta was signed in June 15th. Isn't that funny? And it just had to be a coincidence that, of course, the height of the Tibetan lunar month is the 15th, which is, of course, the height of the feminine divine essence. And it's just a coincidence that I had to have all three trifecta of my ruling planet being Venus, which, of course, is love. That probably makes me the intense, compassionate bitch that I am most days. And I just want to do a great big thank you for, I had a wonderful chat with Pat earlier today. Pat and Tammy, of course, do the Thursday nights here on Critical Mass Radio, Leaving the Farm, which I guarantee you, people that want to get their heads on about a lot of things in terms of how this silly system works and how it is being systematically dismantled. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall, and the fucker's done. Fair? That's what I thought, too. Yeah, I think we're going to be a little bit candid tonight. The subject matter was to be human trafficking, and Karen Quintestato is most informed on this subject, and I am hoping that we can get her on. I know that there were things popping up in her universe, so that being said, we'll see how it goes. We're just going to fly it here, and I don't know how many shows I've done like this where it's like, oh, well, I don't know who's coming on, I don't know who's going to be here, and then the whole world shows up. It's pretty awesome, actually. So anyone that is interested, by the way, if you do want to call in, you may. Of course, this is your show. Of course you want to call in. It's your show. It's your radio show. It's your platform. It's your chance to get your voice heard and to hang out with a ranty two-spirit bitch like me, which has got to be on your bucket list of things to do before you ascend in this lifetime. Has to be on that list. And if it isn't, well, it should be. Fair? I think that's fair. So I'm just going to go check on Skype here to see if we have Karen in yet. And not seeing her. Okay, over to love and stuff. Good, I'm glad you're happy. That's exactly why we do the things we do. This is how we reach out. And I guess it does make me kind of a force spirit. Thanks, Blake. I never thought of that. Well, again, I was born in 64, which is 8 squared, or infinity, that whole figure 8 thing, squared. And, of course, there's 64 spaces on a chessboard, and, that might have something to do with what goes on. Coincidences and coincidences and coincidences. By the bucketful. I've done a lot of shows with regards to these funny little synchronicities that were my clues to my own awakening. And, of course, the most powerful clue you have is the very name you were given that, of course, got, sold. And no harm or foul on mom and dad. They didn't know any better. And when you have a bunch of liars, and that's really what it boils down to, beautiful spiritual beings that have lost their way and use a malfeasant intent to dupe other people because they've been so encapsulated in this 3D paradigm that they think is the end-all and be-all of creation. No, this is just a very small incremental part of creation. The physical universe is where we come to play and experience and grow as spiritual beings. And I'm thinking right now, a creator ain't very happy with a whole lot of those spiritual beings, But at the same time, who am I to say? Because I really won't speak for creator, because I am merely just a little spark of the all-spark, and quite happy to be that, the servant of servants, as it were. And quite happy to be that, too, as miserable as it gets some days. But there you go. That was my choice. Free will, all in. See you at the beach, baby. What do they call that? California or bust? Well, how about this? Ascension or death? That works for me, too. So there you go. Anyway, the number to call in, which is on your screen if you're listening, so I'll direct you to it. It's 661-467-2401. And of course, that little blue button with the S in it is called Skype. And all you have to do is click on that. It will reroute you to the board here if you want to call in. And I guess I will just simply wait to hear from Karen. And I'm sure something's come up. I know Karen is very busy. She does a lot of work uniting different personalities, radio stations, and what have you once a month. I do believe she's trying to get that more often, but where it becomes an all-day, all-weekend kind of marathon event, lining up shows, and it's not easy to do that. Hell, it's not even easy to line up, 7 days a week as far as, just one time slot per day. But we do it, and we get her done. So I do want to direct people, and I don't care if this pisses Tony off, because I love him, and I miss having him at the board here. And the only reason he's not here is because he hasn't got a place to be right now. Well, he's hanging out with a mutual friend of ours in London that most graciously opened the doors for him, saved him sleeping on the street, that kind of thing. Anyway, if you go to, I've put the link up, but I'll share it with you, awakeconsciousawareness.com. And I really wish you'd have picked a smaller friggin' website name. I fucking hate that name because it's so long. Anyway, see, I just wanted to make sure it was in your psyche, and it is now. awakeconsciousawareness.com. There is a donate button there that goes directly to someone that can get whatever is donated to Tony. And I know for the last month he's been going through a virtual hell, and it's been a hit and miss constantly. Me not knowing exactly what's going on, where he is, if he's safe, the people around him, what have you. So for me, that is a very valid concern, and being 3,500 miles away and an ocean in between him and I makes it a bit difficult. And of course, that's the area where I'm from, and I know it rather well, and it's frustrating. It's just frustrating. So I don't want to sound like I'm bitching or anything tonight. I'm not. I'm just kind of laying out probably sides of me that I don't show these sides too often. So maybe we'll just have a nice little nice little walk down the lane, and let's get all furry up close and personal, shall we, tonight? That's what I think. What do you need in there, Paul? Oh, good boy, you're listening. I'm never alone, my friend. I have the universe. I am the universe and part of it. So, and thanks, Chris. Just got your note there, and yeah, the list is wonderful. Henriette, Margaret, Susie, Chris. I'm just going down the mental list because and there are others I still have to answer. And we'll keep you up to speed on what's going on. But the most critical thing is right now for me is I know one, I wasn't going to say the name, so I won't. It's taken care of. One is taken care of, yes. And just want to make sure Tony's okay. That's all. And waiting for him to come online so that I know he's where he needs to be and, okay. Yeah, Tony and I have a lot in common. Well, I'm the two-spirit. He's kind of normal. Not that in common. Just the way we've walked our lives. And hey, maybe I'll share the story of Tony and Kate and how we kind of falls in with Santo as well. How all these beautiful pieces came together. Tony, I knew of Tony. I hadn't seen his work prior to talking with him, and just the way little things, came together. And I had conversed with him, I guess November, December of 2011, and it was around the time I wrote the Denique Ultimatum Reverio Verum, which is a spicy little document that shoved a big hot poker up the Pope's ass. I know the Vatican didn't like it, and I know a whole lot of people didn't like it. I sent it out. Santo, myself, and Santo's son sent it out at the same time. I sent it out via email because, as everyone who knows me is aware, the birth certificate I did surrender into their court in the Judge Bows to Sovereign video. That's exactly why the guy knew he had. And we're going back a couple of years here, guys. So you got to kind of pay attention to the, peeling the layers off the onion concept. We do something and we get a victory out of it. That layer's gone. It ain't going to happen again. Move on to the next layer of dishonor that we have to unveil while we stand in dishonor using the name. And until people figure that shit out, they're going to get their asses handed to them because they're the ones in dishonor. So I can't help you there. All I can do is tell you what's going on. I can share that and move on from there. Needless to say, January 13th of 2012, I sent the first finished version of the Denique Ultimatum Reverio Verum, which effectively means, you must stand in truth, right? It was also tacked on with another document I had done prior as well called, and I title a lot of my documents this, Fiat Justitia Ruat Caelum, which is, how does it go? I want to make sure it's justice be done though the heavens may fall, you must stand in truth. That's what the whole sentence comes together to mean. Fiat Justitia Ruat Caelum, Denique Ultimatum Reverio Verum, which is very musical in terms of Latin. That's one of the reasons why I love Latin. Not that I know much about it. I do know some key things about it. But I will tell you, one morning I woke up and I was speaking the damn language. I had a sentence going over and over in my head, and I wrote it down, and there's such a mental block on it that it was everything I could do to remember it. But it was very revealing in what it told me at the time, in that effectively it said, you've awakened and you are the like the apprentice. And it was very telling. Okay, so we have January 13th, served the document. January 31st, I sent what do they call that? It's been so long. Non-response notice, I guess is what it would be termed. That was on January 31st of 2012. And on February 11th, they raided my house. Kidnapped me at gunpoint at 7 o'clock on Saturday evening of February 11th. Took me away from my house, away from my ability to protect my family. I just dropped my oldest off at a birthday party. What a criminal event that was. And 2 hours later, they proceeded with a SWAT team fully armed with their pump-action shotguns and 9mm penis extensions that they thought my 12-year-old daughter and Sue baking in the kitchen were some kind of threat. Their excuse was they were coming after the guns that were quite safely locked up in the cabinet downstairs that would never be used to harm any living soul. Anyway, that was the whole point of having them, to make sure they would never do that. But they don't understand that, you see. And that children are like that. They, sometimes you can talk to a 5-year-old all day long, and they don't care as long as they get the decoder ring out of their Fruit Loops. That being said, long story short, I've been conversing with Tony over, prior to this, and of course shortly after. I went back to the house beginning of March 2nd, March 3rd, and to reclaim my land, and because I knew that they couldn't do anything to me while I was at my home. That's why they had to wait until I was outside, the cowardly bastards, because they knew they had no lawful jurisdiction at the embassy. There was no house number. There was no address anymore. I'd taken the mailbox off the house. When you understand UPU and how that works, and you start understanding what a diplomat is, and all these notices were sent, you wouldn't believe the amount of paperwork I put together and wrote and sent constantly. I was a thorn of thorns. Well, that's the whole purpose, right? When you want to educate people. So, you see, here's the thing. They don't have plausible deniability. They don't have ignorance as an excuse of the law because they were informed step by step about everything that I was unveiling and revealing to them, in that all mortgages were frauds, all governments and corporations were frauds. They were all registered through Washington, D.C. It was all held together by things like the Universal Postal Union. They don't call it universal for nothing, guys. See, because we're dealing in a principality mentality here. We're not dealing in a physical. We're dealing with forces beyond ourselves. You know, so anyone that claims that there isn't magic in this universe, obviously doesn't see this world around them. How do you think this shit got here? Just shut up one day? You know, some big bang or something? You know, there was nothing, you know, real behind it, tangible. I often have a hard time trying to even fathom the concept that people would question the magical aspect of where we are. You know, just because you can't be Harry Potter and wave a wand, just because you forgot that. That's why you're here in a five senses, very limited physical reality, walking around in a, you know, as glorious as they are in galaxy. I like to separate you from that meat stick, and that's why I call them meat sticks. Not to be derogatory, it's just to show that, you know, you're not the meat, right? You're kind of like the driver. You got that steering wheel in the center of your forehead, which should be in the center of your heart, but most people in the center of their forehead just moving this meat stick around. This is my address, you say. I don't need a number, I live here. Cool, huh? That's why when you talk to people, make sure you address them properly. Isn't that interesting? So if you want to stick an address on somebody and bring them back under the Universal Postal Union, you'll use that corporate name on them and commit fraud by aiding and abetting someone into it. It's kind of a, you know, you might want to look up a better in Black's Law. There's a lot of things that people need to look up. They need to spend the time you know, perusing through if they want to get educated on this stuff. And it's not to be walking into courtrooms and stuff and look at me, because the simple fact is, unless you know who you are to the degree that I know some people know and will actually go into a courtroom to, you know, beat the mental shit out of them, because these layers have to be peeled, and we're at a point now where only the true masters can do that. Anybody else, well, they're going to get a 30-day psych eval or worse, or they're going to get their asses handed to them. It's not a pretty picture. You know, you can play the bonds game if you want. I'd call you a fucking retard for doing that, but that's just me. You know, I don't play in UCC land, right? There's other ways to skin that cat. Many other ways to skin that cat, but the biggest one that people need to grasp, and the biggest one that people need to get their heads around, is you got to mirror their fear and give it back to them. You've got to make it possible that they see their own fear of what they're trying to, you know, emulate out. And I get so torn on all these issues, but getting back to Tony. So I went back to my house, of course, knowing full well I was going to bring the wrath of Khan upon me. You know, a bunch of Khan, and I mean that literally. You know, a bunch of armed thugs showed up the next day and physically attacked and removed me. And I spent the next 28 days in solitary. 7 court appearances, and I will tell you this: you know. I did say the only way they'd ever get me in court is if they dragged me in chains, and they did. But I'll tell you, I gave them performances they will never forget. Because, listen, here's the thing. When you got nothing to lose, I mean, really, when you got nothing to lose, what are you going to do? Stand there and just, you know, okay, put a bullet in me. No, I'm sorry, I'm a little bit tougher than that, and I'm a whole lot bitchier. So I proceeded at each occasion, except the last one, and I knew exactly why I was to be silent, because they didn't want to be caught anymore in their fraud, because I'd been a bit of a thorn that way. And I was the only one in the courthouse that whole day for an entire city, an entire region, and I found that kind of odd. Wow, actually, I felt more special. And of course, this wannabe judge who did not know how to accessorize at all, he wanted to make sure it went past 1 p.m. so he could get his per diem. It's kind of funny when you hear lawyers over talking these things, right? So they would rather just let people you know, suffer, I guess is probably the best word. Keep them in the cold holding cells until, it suits you and you're going to get your full paycheck instead of a half day's pay, because that's all that matters to you. Anyway, long story short, the two judges prior to that, and he was the third that day, I proceeded, and the Crown, I had a field day with the Crown. Oh my God, what a fucking coward, DeVos. What a coward. This guy couldn't even look at me. I went up one side of him and down the other, and I told him exactly what he was doing. And no, he could not look me square in the eyes, even when I said, you can't even look me in the fucking eyes because you're a fucking coward. And you know what you're doing. I know what you're doing. And, of course, another friend was there, too, and he had... we proceeded to... it was like a game of tennis, actually. Mike and I had a lot of fun. And ended up that I had to get one of those... And to the guy's credit, he was a very decent fellow. And I knew he was there for a very specific reason, because I definitely made his head tilt with a few things that I said. But I tell you, he spoke for me like very few ever could. It's like we'd hung out for years and he knew exactly who I was. But here's the thing. These guys know exactly who you are anyway, because you're not dealing in a physical reality, guys. You're dealing in a surreality. And until you realize it and lose the fear, they're going to own your sorry ass, ethereally, physically, mentally, all of it. So I would just suggest that you might want to get out of that fear porn mode. And I loved Dean's comment last night. Oh my God, it was so funny. He said, here they are. They got what, 2 billion bullets that they've stored up. We talked about this, Santo, Dean and I. I'll get back to Tony in a sec, because this is a good story. We were talking about the number of bullets that the Department of Homeland Security had stockpiled. It's all fear porn, right? And, what are they going to do? Kill everybody? Here's the joke, guys, and here's the reality. Let me take all that fear away right now in one fell swoop, because I can, because truth does that. You're talking about trying to overthrow the most heavily armed populace on this planet that actually will stand. Second Amendment or otherwise, these people are going to stand. And it's just a bluff, because this all-powerful United States government and its military can't even fucking beat Afghanistan. The Russians had their asses handed to them. You figure the Americans who supplied the Afghanis at that time would have figured it out. Well, if they could beat the Russians, well, they're beating your sorry asses too. And that's the thing. You can't beat Afghanistan, but you're going to try to take on 300 million Americans? Are you fucking kidding me? What, with 1.2 billion bullets? I know you're hiring from the criminal ranks. Well, you stopped doing that. You just announced that. And, the drug addicts and all the rest of it. I'm talking the hardcore coke freaks and stuff like that, the real drugs. I'm not talking pot. Yeah. Pot smoker, real dangerous. The only thing they're worried about is... you got some munchies, man? Need something to eat. Yeah, they're going to get into peace, love, internal grooviness. They'll forget probably what they came in. Well, if they went into rob a store, they'd be at the counter and go, "Oh, how much for the bag of chips?" Right? So they'd forget why they're there. All of a sudden, peace breaks out. Cannabis is so good for you. It's a cancer killer. You got to get it into the oil form if you want to do that properly. Anyway, getting back to Tony, we had talked on and off, of course, and he had actually sent the document as well. And within 24 hours, he got grabbed, picked up, and held for, I think, 24 hours or 48 hours. And there was a few other instances I got word back from people that served it and scared the living shit out of them. Actually, 3 days later, Santo sent out physical copies of everything, and 3 days later you gotta remember, this is Australia to the City of London, okay, guys? 3 days later, someone, postal guy is walking up, knocks on Santo's door, and it's a registered letter. So not only did it, get there and they had time to read it and, decide what they're going to do with it, they turn around and registered mail send it back, and it got there in 3 days? Are you kidding me? That's halfway around the planet. I don't care how efficient you think your mail service is. that's kind of some expedited shit going on. Anyway, so after the little stint in solitary, I hooked up with Tony again on a bigger scale, and he had a lot of things that he wanted to share because he'd been working on his book and getting Blueprints of Cosmic Consciousness out, which, by the way, is a free download. It's actually 2 books, and it is chock full of more information than you can shake a hairy dog at, and that's his gift to you. And I know how much time he put into it, and I know how much research went into it. It's a completely interactive book where he actually puts links right there in every page, every chapter, every item that, if he says something, he has something there to back it up. So that takes a lot of time to, it's bad enough trying to copy and paste a radio show, but to copy and paste, 2 books worth of information, that takes some effort. And I know Sandy helped with that as well, putting all that together. So I got talking with Tony on and off, and I got to know him a whole lot better, and talking about Templars and all sorts of funky information that he was privy to. And as it turns out, over the course of last summer, things stabilized a bit for him. He was working at a location. All this information, some people are going to have to step up to the plate. And I'm not talking about anybody listening right now, because there's a couple of people that have done some things that are really, really out of character. And as soon as I get the go-ahead, I'm going to fucking rape them on air. And I'm going to expose them for what they are. All right? We know who they are, and they're actually destroying themselves. But I'm going to make that crystal clear because of what you've put Tony through, which was totally uncalled for, and especially from some people that are claiming to be the peace, love, truth, and eternal grooviness gurus, okay, that claim to be all that in a bag of chips and are less than a piece of shit in my eyes based on their actions of recent. But that's another story. Hammy, you remember Hammy the hamster on the riverbank? Well, GP, that's another story. Yeah, anyway, so... needless to say, Tony was in a position where he, where he was staying. He had to leave, and this is about a month ago. Doesn't matter where he was. Let's just say the situation he was in. I'm surprised he even managed to have the energy to get on the air based on the mental abuse he was getting. And let's just say he had to leave there, and has been basically moving ever since. And we've been trying to get him, somewhere situated and stabilized. And thus far, that just hasn't come to fruition. So that being said, that's why, and he even said to me he didn't want me to talk about any of this or post anything and what have you. But I gotta be honest, and this is where I'm going to come back at him and say, listen, I'm tired of not knowing what's going on with you, and trying to help and not being allowed to do certain things and post, Facebook and stuff. He didn't want me to do any of that stuff. And I'm sorry, I can't take the emotional and mental turmoil anymore. Spending 3 or 4 hours in a fucking panic trying to get a hold of some people halfway around the world from me to make sure my friend's okay. I don't know about you guys. Not that I don't have the time, and I won't take the time to do that for someone. I will. I've been doing it every fucking morning for the last week. Trying to make sure things are sorted out. So, I need a hand. That's all I need. I'm going to play a song. Yeah, the Powerhouse Katie. Bitch has got a heart after all, eh? Yeah, I can't even reduce this to get a song on. Try to save my pride here. Just give me a sec. Yeah, you want it up close and personal with me? Well, you're going to get it tonight. I'm tired of the suffering. I'm tired of seeing people hurt. So I'm going to play you my signature song. I wrote this as a poem, actually, and I never thought I'd ever put music to it until about 5 minutes after I wrote it. The music just fell out of my hands on my guitar. So here you go. I'm going to take a little break here for 4 minutes and 10 seconds, and I'm going to give you the Heart of Hearts. This is my signature song. This is as true to me as you will ever get. As soon as the damn button works. Yeah, I'm not even sure how long this laptop's going to last. It's not even a laptop. Here we go, I think. Oh, where's it going? It's trying to move. Okay, there we go. Back in a minute. You guys hearing any music? I'm not hearing anything. The damn thing. Oh, there we go. Did it stop? No. Somebody can let me know if it's playing. I'm going to go to Love and Stuff. Okay. Yeah, they even hacked our site, the pricks. They don't. It's like, grow up, you morons. You've lost. We've already won. And you know the day I know that is the day I get to hug my daughters again. I haven't hugged them in over a year. Nope, not hearing a damn thing. Might even have to get out of Skype and come back in. This is nuts. Anyway, whatever. Yeah, it's still showing it's playing, but nothing's going on here. And no one's commenting in the room, so I will go and see if anybody else is actually hearing anything playing. Boy, this is great radio, isn't it? Oh my God, what are you learning right now? Yeah, okay, thanks, Pat. Yeah. Let me see. Go over to Victoria. Word from Victoria. She's got so many emails. Thank you, guys. Word's out. No, still not working. I'm going to try to refresh the page here. Hopefully that the radio doesn't go down. Either way, I'm still here. So I'm going to refresh and see if it works. I'm going to keep talking too because... or am I? Oh, Love and Stuff. No tunes. Yeah, I can't. Yeah, it's the thing. You know, I've got Blog Talk showing that it's rolling, but it's got this little circular action thing going on. But the player's counting, and I'm not hearing anything. And that's what it did prior to coming on the show. So I don't know what's going on tonight. I don't know if I mean, this is the last recourse of how they're going to try to get under. They're not going to get under my skin. I don't give a shit. Hey, I got my guitar sitting right here. I could play the damn thing live if I could remember the lyrics to it. That's a problem when you do these songs so many times. You actually get mental block on them. Yeah, I think we all do need a hug. I'd just like to have a hug for my daughters right now. Nothing personal, guys. I've never seen before my eyes this dream. I've never known what makes this child to see. Like tears from a mountain. I've never seen before my eyes this dream. I've never known what makes this child to see. Like tears from a mountain pouring gently to the sea. A curiosity, will you dare to touch my soul? Is love so frail that we can't hope to be more than we are?
more than our hearts can see. And if for any reason on this field of broken dreams we stand to lose it all, then for you, yes, I do it willingly. If this is our moment, captured in time, always to sustain, for lost in your eyes I find are the only means to remain. Searching relentlessly, just like a cloud, she chases the rain. We'll stand here firm, 'cause we are an island protected by love on this field of broken dreams. It's never clear, this path of destiny. That's why we're here, to find our need to be. Elusive as a rainbow, we can try to steal her gold, but she'll give it willingly. Will you dare to ask her though? We'll find a way, we must believe in us. There'll come a day we'll soar, and when it does, the sky will have no boundaries. I will challenge every sea. I will never lose this dream. 'Cause for you, yes, I do it willingly. If this is our moment, captured in time, always to sustain, for lost in your eyes I find are the only means to remain. Searching relentlessly, just like a cloud, she chases the rain. We'll stand here firm, 'cause we are an island protected by love on this field of broken dreams. On this field of broken dreams.
Well, there you go. I don't even know if you guys are hearing me. Can somebody tag me and let me know, because something's really weird happening. My Blog Talk page will not load. It's frozen. And oh yeah, somebody's typing. Blake, I'm sure. Then you can hear me. Just tell me you can hear me. Anybody, anyone. There we go. Oh, thank you, Brian. Thank you very much. And I don't even know if anybody's called in. So yeah, Blog Talk, Blog Talk group hug indeed. There you go, Paul. And yeah, I don't know. Something's up with Blog Talk tonight, and maybe they're just. This is just bizarre. I'm going to actually close this page. That's the good thing about Blog Talk. At least once you're hooked up, because I haven't even got it on the computer right now. Pretty cool, huh? I'm almost thinking I have to reboot the internet just to make sure that things are going out, and that's the joy of Skype. As long as Skype's going, I've got a connection to the show, and the show runs with or without my browser going. Anyway, let me see. Okay, yeah, this is just bizarre. You know, I've had some weird shit happen before, but not like this. Anyway, let's try this and get it up and going. See if anybody's actually called in. Don't forget, number is 661-467-2401, and you can always Skype in too. And I'm not finished telling some of the background with regards to Tony, and the boy's been through the mill, and he did exactly what I did. He gave up all identification, everything, and he, like I, as soon as he did that, life has been a virtual hell. Try, just for practice. Boo! Did I scare anybody? Unbelievable. Just unfucking believable, guys. Yeah. Hey, it's me, It's kind of how I fly. It's how I roll. I speak my mind. Anyway, wanted to call back in. I just saw you drop off as soon as I got the board hot. Yeah, so definitely call back in, hon. We got Chris on the board. That's K-R-I-S, Chris. See, that spelling sound thing really pisses people off. Hey, Chris, your mic's hot, my friend. How are you doing?
I'm all right. Funny times.
Ooh, you're all digitally robotic sounding.
Any better now?
Oh, that's better. Yeah. No, it just came in like a really bad Max Headroom episode. Oh, for those old enough to remember Max Headroom, you just aged and dated yourself all in one fell swoop. Yeah, what's that? You play a song and the whole system collapses. It wasn't that bad, was it? I thought it was actually one of my better songs. Just saying, about Tony there, and I was half expecting to see him coming online at some point. Yeah, that definitely was. That definitely was weird. Yeah, I've never seen anything quite like that happen before. I mean, I can blame it on a CME or whatever, but that would apply to all programs and what I've got running here. And although Skype was getting a bit buggy, but that's usually because of the connection with Blog Talk. But that was just okay. There's one for the record books, kids, and I guess that's one more trick they pulled, and they can't pull it anymore because they've used it. It's sort of like, you know what it is, Chris? It's like when you're playing cards, you only have so many cards in your deck, and this is how the courts are, right? You only have so many cards to play. And do you remember it was a card game called War? Do you remember that? It might have had a few.
Yeah, vaguely, but I don't remember how to play.
Well, basically what you did was, if two people, right? Generally, it was a two-people game. And what you do is you'd shuffle the deck up, and then you deal out the deck completely, half to each individual. And what you do is you put a card down, and the other one would put one on it, and whatever the higher card was, that individual won the card. Now, people say, well, if you have all the aces, you're going to always win. I said, no, well, the only card that could beat an ace was a 2. So there had to be a way to defeat that. And that's how I see the system. And what's happening is we've each been dealt half the deck. And what we're doing right now is we're in the final stages of war, pun intended, with this dark principality entity that has very, very few cards left to play. So we're sitting there, the masses, with the stacked deck now. And once the card is played, right, there's no taking it back. And, win, lose, or draw, these guys are down to their last couple of cards. And that's what we've been doing. We've been at, quote, war, unquote, with them, playing this silly game of peeling off this onion layer by layer. And once a trick gets used, they can't use it anymore. It's an honor thing. This goes into very, very ethereal, universal, spiritual realms that have to be abided by. There are laws that are immutable. You cannot break them. They are what keep this game working to begin with. There was a scene in the Ice Pirates. I remember this. It was so funny. They had this robot. It was really dumb. It was a really dumb robot. And I think it was Time Pirates or Ice Pirates. I can't remember the name. But anyway, there was this heated battle going on this spaceship, right? And just really, it was kind of a spoofy, campy parody type movie, but just a lot of fun. But this robot that was effectively useless was a big monster of a thing, and it was walking along. Think Jarhead, and you'll understand what this robot is. It's walking along, and it stops in its gantry, and it looks down, and it sees this bolt at its belly button, and it looks down at it. It never noticed it before, and it starts to unscrew this thing, right? And then it gets the last turn, pulls the bolt out, looks at it, and then the whole robot fell to pieces. It just fell to pieces. So that's how I see the system. It's now got its on the last couple of turns of that bolt, it's pulling it out and is looking at it going, what's this for? And then it's all going to collapse. As Santo said so beautifully last night, that Babylon, it's right in the Bible, guys, it's a good code book if you know how to read it. Babylon fell in an hour. The great Babylon fell in an hour. That's going to be the twinkling of an eye, and that's what we're all collectively working for right now, to get this game back to where it's going to be fun again. I don't know about you guys, but this is not really a fun planet to live on anymore. Not that it has been. I mean, there's been good points and bad points, but if we took out all the wars and all the killings and the murders and the rapes and all the rest of the negative garbage, it'd actually be a pretty cool place. And that's what we're doing is we're bringing all of these entities into the light and showing them for what they are and what they're doing. I don't know about you guys. Did you hear the story the other day? I forget which cardinal it was. I think it was an African cardinal. Decided to say that pedophilia isn't a crime.
Yeah, that was a South African cardinal when the new pope was brought in.
Yeah, I'm just again, he probably has a kid or two that he's not talking about, but I would just go up and ask. Listen, I'm sure he's got relatives that are have family and have kids and everything else. So if it's not a crime, maybe someone should just go up to this cardinal and say, listen, I'll take your niece or your nephew and I'll do what I want with them. Do you think he might think it's a crime then? Probably,
unless he's really demented and would enjoy that as well.
Well, yeah, you kind of went where I was going to go next, so there you go. If they don't have a problem with that, these psychopaths, that's all they are, Now, Jim, is that you on the other end there?
I'm listening in.
Okay, I thought that was you. No, it's just there's a lot of hiss, and I don't know if that's on my end things or on your end. I think we're going to be having some serious fun tonight. Anyway, where was I going to go? Oh, Wanda, you need to call back in. I had you on the board. I want you to call back in. All right? Want to hear your voice, sweetie. Yeah. Oh, wrong room. Definitely not my subject matter. They're talking about Cyprus. So, and yeah, that was the whole idea. This is one of the reasons why this kind of stuff happens, because it derails the energy of what was going on prior. So, but anyway.
Well, you were talking about Tony before all this stuff happened. You were getting into I forget what it was.
Well, that's why I went to the song, because I didn't want to get any deeper. But the fact is, Tony is not only my friend, he's your friend too. And I miss having my co-host running the helm with me. And I'm at a point where I need help to help him. And he's been fighting tooth and nail to get Syncrenicity up, where we were looking to charge a whopping $3 subscription. Still get access to the site, but and of course there's me saying, well, no, everything I do is free for all. Always expecting people, to think that what I do has value and would chip in. That's been a bit of a war with me. I had a chat with Pat earlier regarding that. And Pat, please call in. Everybody, call in. It's looking like Karen's not going to make it tonight. And I'll rebook that, because I definitely want her information going viral as it did last time. talking about the human trafficking, and I believe we only had an hour with her last time, so I definitely want to make a full 2-hour rundown on what she has to share. So I've done the call out, guys, so feel free. And Chris, I have to say thank you. You've been one of those individuals that poked and prodded this prideful bitch into action, where even asking for help. You know what it is, guys? It's not even a pride issue. Because I've been digging deep for this one. I don't want to. What it is, I don't want to be tainted. I don't want people to think that I got into this or did this for the money. To be quite honest, I'd have to get about 1.5 million back to cover what was already given up, and that ain't going to happen. Not doing Blog Talk Radio. So I think that one's pretty much a secure bet, you know.
I think I understand it has to do with like self-responsibility, that you wanna take care of yourself, and so you don't want to ask other people to help you take care of yourself and ask for money and be seen as someone who's trying to get money. So I completely understand that, but you got to get over that sometimes. And when you're down low, well, ask and you shall receive, because there's people out there that love you and will support you.
I know. And I'm probably always going to be at war on this one with me. And I think a lot of it, if there is any pride here, Chris, is the fact that I took so much pride in knowing that I could help people, and did. Anytime they needed a roof, they had one. Anytime they needed a meal, they had one. Anytime they needed anything, if I had anything extra, money, doesn't matter, whatever they needed. If I had it, it was theirs. You know, one of my early sayings was very simply this: I'll give you the shirt off my back. But the minute someone goes and rips it off my back, that's a different story. And I think a lot of the irony here, and we talked a bit about this last night as well, and this is going to be an ongoing theme. You know, the very people that have attacked me are the very ones that I was trying to help, and literally on bended knee, and trying to get them to wake up to the reality of how they're being controlled, and how easily we as a collective can collapse this evil system where so very few are milking the entire planet, and some people are just settling for, you know, table scraps, literally table scraps, you know, getting pieces of paper, trading off for pieces of paper, going out and, you know, ripping people out of their homes, and then with those pieces of paper on a Saturday night, sitting around with the rest of your buddies that rip people out of their homes, sitting around talking about how much fun it was. And I know there's a lot of them like that. I can only imagine the conversation that went down it was a Saturday again, the Saturday night that they took me down physically, and you know, I got to tell you, to look out your door and see about 15 kids, basically they were kids. You know, I guarantee you I was older than all of them, without question, standing there in their little cute uniforms, looking like, you know, the army of Guelph police. And they were all kids. There wasn't a middle-aged officer there, so they sent all the kids in as a gang, and that's what's deemed a home invasion. They sent any more than 3 as a gang. And I've never, for me, okay, here I am in a house that they've emptied. There was still a lot of stuff there that never made it to the trailer, by the way, that they said had all my belongings in it. So someone stole all my dive gear. I had some nice gear. I only had when you're diving, guys, you buy the best. Why? Because your life depends on it. Yep. My regulator was over $2,000, and that's not chump change, guys. You know, Mares Ruby is a top dog, baby. You know, and of course the tanks that were there were 2 large tanks and 1 small tank, and my Mares buoyancy compensator, my BC. There's that BC thing again. So in that right there, you're probably talking $3,000 worth of equipment gone. That somebody thought that they could just take because it was there. And here they are, a gang of armed kids standing at my door, kicking it in, and for what? So they could sit around Saturday night thinking it was great and having a good old time. And I have to say, the young lady that ended up driving me downtown, she got hit by a bus last week.
Holy cow.
And you wonder, you wonder why I fear for these people. Wonder why. These are the things that I get to look at and go, you silly child.
Well, Kate, I know the position you put yourself into. I'm almost there myself. I started looking at things a little bit different, and let me tell you what I did. There was a group in my city that kind of saw what was coming down the pike, and so they formed this group called the Well-Fed Neighbor Alliance, and they were encouraging people to start growing gardens.
Good idea.
So anyway, I got an idea a few weeks back, and they've got a little classified section on their website. So I went in there and I said, under the section needed, I basically said, I'm needing 1 to 5 acres of unused land for the purpose of developing permaculture and possibly doing some other things like aquaponics and stuff on it, and I just wanted the use of the land to live on and whatever. Well, I got a phone call last week, and they were interested and they wanted to know more about it because they weren't familiar with it, and so we set up an appointment for Saturday. So last Saturday we got together. Well, before we got together, this lady calls me up and she just wanted to make sure that we were still on. And I said, yeah. I said, but have you watched the video that I sent to you? And she says, well, I started it, but I haven't gotten through it. And I said, well, it's 35 minutes long. You got 2.5 hours. Watch it before we meet. And she was kind of hesitant about the whole prospect of it. Well, we get to the meeting, and she goes, oh, my God, I'm so excited. She says, I love this. This is what I want to do. Well, her family has about 20 acres that's basically undeveloped. And so she looked at me, and she said, well, so you just want the use of a few acres, right? And I go, yeah. And she goes, but you'll help us with this? And I said, yeah, I'll help you with it. And she says, well, are you willing to split the surplus? And I went, sure. And she says, okay, let's meet next Saturday, and I'll take you out and let's go look at the land.
Good boy. Well done, Jim. That's proactive.
Well, and you know what? For people that are in the situations like you are in, you got to reach out. You just got to reach out. And you know what? There's land out there that people own that they're not doing anything with it.
Well, that's the point. It's wasted. It's sitting there doing nothing.
Yeah. Ask them, hey, do you mind if I use it? I don't need that much space. I even share some of the produce from it. That's an idea.
Okay, no, that's exactly it. And I'm not sure if Sandy's listening right now. If you're listening, just tag me in the Skype chat that we're doing right now, because I really can't type while I'm on the air, Sandy. There's a couple of things I want to go over here. Just these are very important things that people need to really get into their universe. It's about finishing cycles, and that's exactly what Jim was just talking about, finishing the cycle. All right? It's like, how many times have people gotten, there's a story called 3 Inches from Gold. I've told it before, really quickly. Guy went out and found some gold, and he decided to dig the mine, and he was finding gold, and he ended up putting a lot of money into, finishing, because he knew it was going to be a good vein. Everything was reading properly for it. And he went out and spent basically all he had on all the equipment and getting his mine all set up, and started going, and it was breaking even, and then the vein ran out. And they kept digging. They went this direction, that direction, every direction, right? Couldn't relocate the vein. And the guy was basically on his last dollar. What he ended up doing was he sold his claim to a geologist, individual, and sold all the equipment, and still came away with a tidy sum. But anyway, as it turns out, the geologist went down, had a look. That was his mine. He knew what he was looking for, and he said, "Okay, we dig there, 3 inches away, hit the biggest vein going." Okay, and that's what people do. They stop short. So finish the cycle. Okay. So I guess Sandy's not listening, so I can't. I will explain this to her one-on-one. This is very important. And what this is what has come in to the donate button so far. The total was $239. Of that, there is I think there's $117 for these supplies, and I think Sandy was going to donate, and I said no, that's not how this works, because that's not a complete cycle, because there is debt involved there in one way or another. Whether it is perceived or real or not, it doesn't matter. It's going to be perceived. So get the cycles finished. It's paid for. It's done. That was the purpose of putting that post up, and I want this done this way, and I will not fucking tolerate anything less than. We get this done together, right? And I know Sandy has sacrificed a lot for a lot of people. So this cycle stops now. Now we do this together. Here, and I've said this before, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart. I don't know how much longer I can keep going the way things are. I don't know how long I can. It's not that I don't want to. It's just becoming a physical impossibility. I cannot travel right now. My car is down. And if I told you guys what I needed, you'd probably shit. But I tell you, I'm chipping away at it whatever way I can right now, and I've been without my second. That's my home, okay, guys? You need to understand what a car is to me, and it was got in a very special way. All right? I don't have a name, remember? So I just can't go out and go, hey, well, I'll take that, and I'll go get this, and I'll do that and the other, because I don't have that ability. So I kind of got stuck with, I have no choice. I've got to get this. The engine failed. I've got to get a strut replaced as well. You want the total? Do you want the total? This involves the selling of my dog, okay, guys? Which hasn't happened at this point. Universe, for some reason, has got Gabby still with my friend, and I'm glad. But at the same time, she needs a home too, something tangible. Anyway, total bill $2,200, and I'm already fucking done. There it is, Pat. I said it. Okay, fair. I actually came out and said it. I didn't want to say that. So I haven't got a means to go and do the things that I was doing to survive. Yeah, it's great. Everyone say, well, hey, Kate, go and play somewhere. Yeah, I'm going to fucking walk to Toronto. That would take me a day. Actually, more than a day. It would probably take me a day and a half to walk there from where I am. A little hard to carry equipment, too.
I know how you feel, because it would only take one thing to happen to my car, and I'd be right in the same position.
Fuck, you'd be screwed.
Yep.
And that's where I am right now, and I have been for the last month. I got, and you got to remember something too, guys. I'm a little high profile. I'm kind of a, a well-known, like, you know, top level, and I'm not saying this to be like, look at me. No, this is exactly, don't fucking look at me is what I want. Duh. I wanted to be left alone. This is the whole point of this journey. Dean said it last night so perfectly. He says, and Santa, we're all on the same page here. This is so that we don't have to worry about getting accosted and arrested for daring to go get some lettuce for some tacos on a Saturday night and spend 26 days in fucking jail like Dean did. That's lunacy. This is what we're trying to stop. We don't want our children dealing with this. This was the purpose. And I mean, there's a lot of things I can handle, and I'll tell you, you know, I haven't spoken with my children in a year, okay? I've texted a little bit here and there, you know, but I'll tell you this right now. I could handle it if I had done something intentional to harm them, but the intention was completely opposite. So try being loathed and looked at with disdain for doing everything positive in your heart to make the world a better place, not only for them, but for everyone. These are the things that I have to wrestle with every day, and these are the reasons why I don't like waking up in the morning. I look forward to two things in my day, people. I look forward to this 2 hours I get to share, and I look forward to going to fucking sleep to get away from this. That's where I'm at. All right? And I will fight to the death. And if then I'm doing my job. And if that's not working, then what the fuck am I doing here? And I'm going to ask everyone. We got another caller, area code 949. So jump in. The line's open. As soon as you call in, guys, I make your lines open. This is your radio show. I'm just the bitch with a voice.
Hey, it's really hard to hear you like this, and you know, you come off so strong, and I think it's real easy for people to think that, you know, you're just toughing it through, and somehow every day, you know, somebody's stepping up, and
it's somebody else's problem. Not my department.
Yeah, because there's a reality that, you know, people are so fearful, and they're thinking, oh, I have to hoard, or I have to hang on, but you know, I mean, there's like 10,000 listeners every show, and if just half, or even less than half, threw in 5 Federal Reserve notes or one, anybody, you know, everybody put in one, it would be finished for everybody. I mean, one
show would take care of Tony.
Such a small thing.
You know,
because the alternative isn't. I mean, the alternative out there is listening to the rhetoric of, you know, the Republic and all that stuff, and you know, let's save the government, and you know, that's not the freedom we want. My
constitutional rights. You don't have any.
So
not your document.
You know, this is where you hear the stuff that has been, you know, hidden for centuries. This is where you start to understand your position in the universe. This is where you hear, you know, how to tap in to God within you, and the fact that God isn't out there somewhere with a mallet and all the, you know, ritualistic stuff that, you know, we've heard that's contrived, you know, everything that our perception of how we see the world. You know, it's just a small thing. If everybody could just, you know, not everybody can stand to the level that you have. Not everybody is ready to. Not everybody can take huge steps, but there's one step that they can take, is to support the people who are you know, out there in the face of the system, who are taking the combat hits every single night on the station. I mean, you know, bombarded left and right and center.
Here, hey Pat, I'm going to give an analogy to people, and I'm glad you said combat, because this is what this is. This is combat. And what you have is a handful of people defending a hill with an entire massive army on their side, standing at the bottom of the hill, and all we're asking for you guys to do is toss us some fucking ammunition. If you won't come up and fight it, throw us some ammo. And we're out. My fucking magazines are empty.
You know, what if they don't have a PayPal account or something, then Well, would they reach you through email to get a mailing address?
Yes, I will do that through email only. As far as as far as a mailing address goes, where it can get to someone that I can get to, and a friend of mine, Vicky, she can handle any of the PayPal stuff, and actually she's the one that's helping me work through this car thing. She actually covered my rent. See, that's the thing people don't understand too. Just to keep my stuff, it's cost me $160 a month. I don't have. So it's like, what can I sell? I haven't got anything to sell. I can't. Even if I could, I can't even get to it.
You know, even the Bible says a laborer is worthy of his hire, and you're not doing this for hiring or for any kind of money, but that's how we need to give.
I had that. You know what? I've had the world by the tail a few times, and I threw it back because it was dishonorable in the way I saw it. You know, I couldn't do what I was doing anymore based on a lot of the people I was working with because they were dishonorable, and I can't deal with dishonorable people. You know, music, they wanted my songs. They wanted me to sell my children, which belong to all, and I give those freely. And I've got, in music alone, just with gear and recording and all the rest of it, you spend 3 decades at it. I've got, and this is going back 10 years ago, I did a rough calculation between gear and what I've spent, over $1/3 to throw away a Nashville deal because I didn't want to sell the songs.
Was that all stolen?
No, this is just, well, I can tell you, a typical recording of any song that I've got, you're talking between $3,000 and $5,000 in studio.
Oh, okay.
You know, so like that's why I say the title track that I did for my last album, Bio Lullaby, I got that done in one night, 4 hours, only cost me $300. Holy shit! I was on top of the world. I didn't have to do another damn thing to it. It was perfect.
Yeah.
You know, it was one of those nights. You know, everything was a one take. It just went right through. One take. I go home now, and I have a title track. You know, and then I had other songs in there that I was over $3,500 a piece into. You know, and these are by the way, these songs, you guys, they're there for free.
And they're fantastic. They really are. You know, if you weren't so busy trying to survive and juggle everything to get the show on, and I mean, if some of the pressure was relieved, I mean, who knows? Maybe you could write some songs for other artists or something. If your conscience would allow that. There's just things you could possibly do if you weren't completely crushed.
Well, I'm not completely crushed. I'm still fighting, but
Yeah, strike that. Sorry.
Yeah, you know,
you know what I meant. I didn't.
I know. It just gets a little hard when you're fighting from your knees.
That's what I mean.
And it's like and I hate to sound like this. I really do. It's just been a day. You know, and it's amazing how often my Skype goes off, and even my cell phone, people calling me, asking me for help. And and then trying to get Tony dealt with today. That's what really did it to me. It's worrying day after day after day. Does he have a roof over his fucking head? You know, he's not on the show right now because of that, guys. You know, so 1 down, 1 to go. You take the hit. Well, yeah, you know what I'm saying though, right? Yeah. I'm talking outside the box and cosmic blueprints. You know. That's what it is. We got 1 down right now. You going to pick him up or not? That's all he needs. He needs a hand up. He doesn't need a hand out. He's already given away his life's fortune. And that man, I got to tell you, and I've told people before, you have no idea who he is and what he's got in terms of what he's invented and the life-saving stuff that he's put together that has been absconded from him. We're talking patents worth in the tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars. Taken. And we got Elliot Bernstein on tomorrow night. There's another guy. We're talking billions, probably trillions of dollars of patents that were stolen from him. These are creations. This is one of the reasons why my creations I give freely. You know, someone's got to do it. You know, fuck, what am I, a martyr? I don't know. I mean, these are the questions I ask myself every day. It's like, what do I have to do to get across to people? But I'm telling you guys right now, fine. I'm still standing, all right? But we got one of yours is down.
We have to chip in before you think.
You know, that's where my heart's coming from tonight. It's not for me. This is not for me.
I know this is so hard for you. I know this is just tearing your guts open. I know. I can hear it.
You know, and do people really care? That's what it boils down to. And I know there's many out there that do and have made that difference. And you know, they're and there's so very few. This is what I'm getting across. You know, I mean, Eric just got back, and you know, here's a friend that's opened doors to me and literally has kept me alive. This is one angel that's got a 1,000-fold return coming, and he didn't do it because of that either. I'll tell you that much. But before I came here, I was living in a fucking tent, and even then, nobody gave a shit. Eric did. A couple others. You know. And I got to tell you, and I know tens of thousands of people, music has that effect.
Yeah, it does.
You know, so when are we going to stand? You know, we're doing it. We're standing. When are you going to stand? You know, Tony's down. Let's get him up. I want him back on the air, guys. My right arm.
He's valuable.
You know. That's the bottom line. So if you're hearing anything from my heart, that's exactly what it is tonight. He's, you know.
You know, if we're ever going to have a world where people are, you know, taking care of each other without the lines of division that the system has tried to implant and done a pretty good job, you know, we have to start now. Start somewhere. You know, if you get an unction, if you're listening and you get an unction that maybe you should, you know, quit wrestling with it. Just do it. There's like a universal law I've always found that if you let things go, I'm not saying to be ridiculous, you know, if you are in to completely dire straits yourself, but even then, you know, one FRN, one, you know, just a small thing done by a lot of people can cover the whole nut.
Yeah, can you give up a pack of smokes or a latte this month? Really, can you?
There's a concept.
Can you smoke one less cigarette a day for the next month? You know, and this is ongoing too. This is, you know, this is not, well, hey, listen, well, I donated $10. It's appreciated. You have no idea how far $10 goes with us. But imagine how far it would go for you. You know,
the archives are free too, and there's, you know, different stations where they charge you membership or whatever for archives, and there's, you know, so many different slick tricks here and there and everywhere. This station has never come off to me in that way, in any way, shape, or form, and
well, I'll tell you,
the fact that it's got to this point just shows how lacking response has been.
Well, let me share with you a little something. Blog Talk isn't free, and this is why I thank Paul and Lisa and the crew at Critical Mass every single night for doing what they do, because this platform that we're working off right now is approximately $1,200 per year. So that's covered for you as well. And, you know, throw some change at Critical Mass Radio, and I don't do enough promotion of that because my focus is never on that. You know, so there's a lot of things going on. These shows don't happen just because you click your computer on. There's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes that people don't realize, and this is why I'm as grateful as I am, knowing that platform is there. And I'll tell you. You want to talk about disheartening? The last station I was on, we had tried to do things in terms of fundraising, and based on the track record of the individual that owned the station and the documents that I received in terms of a background check and court records of a known fraudster. So,
wow, that's depressing.
You know, so this is every step of the way out of the frying pan into the fire, get burned, move along. But I'll tell you right now, what Paul has done, and I was talking to him today, what Paul has done has given us the voice. So every show that you've been hearing on Critical Mass Radio Online is as a direct result of Paul and Critical Mass Radio that have donated this site, this sister station, the backup station that they had in place in case they ever needed it. And obviously, well, here we are, they needed it. And we run parallel with Critical Mass Online, with criticalmass.co.uk. We run parallel with them. We're double padding this, guys. We're punching out radio on the same station, 2 different waves every single night. And try doing your schedule. Work your life around knowing that you not only have to put a show on every night, you've got to line up people to be on those shows. This is not a 5-minute event. These are all-day things. I'm at my computer minimum 16 hours a day. I don't know about you.
Yeah, it doesn't just, the little...
As a contractor working 16 hours a day, you'd be talking about $700-800. Seriously. That's what I threw away. Right? That's all gone now. Not only did I put my life force into this, standing in my truth cost me my family, cost me my home. They stole my car, truck, countless belongings, dragged my name through the media. Of course, that's their standard, low-level conflict, and to marginalize and destroy anyone that's coming against their monstrous little empire. For what? For me to sit back and worry about my friend Tony every day? I don't know about you, but that's not good flow for me. That's actually pretty heavy. And this is what you're getting today. This is my concern for Tony and making sure that he gets helped. And right now, okay, all right, I'm gonna have to call Sandy. Fucking people don't understand what I say when I talk, but anyway, whatever. That's the thing too, I say something and people have their own ideas of what it is they want to hear versus what is actually being said. So let me make it very crystal clear to you guys. We got 1 down, 1 to go. Your call, your show. Fair? I don't know. See, here's the thing, Pat, is why I don't want to talk about this stuff, because, what can I say that doesn't need to be said? I don't want to sound like I'm bitching and griping either, but I tell you.
Well, it's frustrating.
Whatever. Hey, listen, I go down, it's not for lack of trying, hon. That's
not going to happen.
No,
get into reality.
No, it's like with Santo. No, I won't. Regardless if I'm on the air or not, I ain't. That's not going to happen.
The floodgates are going to break open. The dam is going to break. Whatever this chokehold is, that hasn't been released. It's going to break open.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on to happier things. What do we got left on the air here? And that's the thing, it got derailed. We got 12, 13 minutes left here. Yeah, I write prophecies. Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah. Every one of my songs is a prophecy. They always came true. Different times, different meanings. It's like listening to songs in new units of time, and they always have a different meaning depending on where your perspective is. It's the same thing with truth. Something that you thought to be true one day, suddenly the next day, it's not that it isn't true, it becomes even truer because there's a more profound depth that you've reached to it. As Santo and I have talked about this many times, about truth having 7 layers, and you have to peel every one of them off. And so
from talking to you today, it's really obvious that you do feel a lot, because you are picking up from so much around you, from people. I think you're a channel, really.
Well, I
That's
know.
partly why your music, why you're so prolific.
Well, that's exactly. I often refer to songwriters as I call myself a soul parasite, because everything that came to me came from the ether. These were. I don't call it songwriting. I call it song catching, because there's no such thing as an original piece of work. There's nothing new under the sun. There's just a new perspective, a new reference from an individual perspective. And that's my songs came from everyone around me.
Just tune into the zone and they come, hey?
Well, yeah, I mean, I can pretty much go down that list and tell you that not one of those songs took longer than 10 minutes to write.
Yeah, that's a definite sign.
I'm talking music and lyrics, right? That's the thing.
That's really something, wow.
Well, again, as you get in, I can't explain it, I can't describe it. Other writers will tell you this. You get into that zone and it just falls out of your hands and face. And when you're finished, I was talking with Eric about this last night, there's some songs, I've got songs that I haven't recorded, properly. I mean, even that last one you heard, that's basically a demo cut of it. It was just, I layer two guitars. I played the song in open tuning, and then I capoed on second fret, and same different chords, but same notes, right? It's just where in open tuning the E is the E, and in capo tuning you're now playing the D form.
Oh.
So it looks like a D, but it's not. It's actually an E, but that's where it plays. Anyway, I just did two guitar layers on that, and I did one vocal pass on it, and that was basically a demo cut for future reference. I've got over 5,000 songs.
Well, I love all of the ones that I've heard. They're super versatile. But the words are just always so impactful.
Well, that's because they're coming straight from source. It's not me. I just channel it through, and it's coming through my heart, obviously, but this kind of stuff.
You don't get to play very often, though, do you?
I have to have a reason to. That's why I don't play anymore.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if that is your meditation. If that's your.
That's how I awoke. I was born awake, but I tell you, spending the countless hours learning the craft and being at one with an instrument, it shuts you up and it shuts your brain off, and you go into full right hemisphere mode. That's why musicians, typically a child that takes music and is loving of that music, typically scores 20 to 50% higher than any other student, because they've developed their mind. They've actually opened channels in their brain that would normally.
Right. That's why they take it out of schools now.
Yeah, they don't want the kids doing it. You can get the same effect out of working at a potter's wheel. Things that get you focused and working in your own space is meditation, whether your eyes are closed or otherwise. What's that?
That's why they took art out of school too.
Yeah, they want to kill all the creative processes.
Any right brain creativity. Don't think, don't create. Stay within the trap.
Exactly. Well, we got 3 minutes left here, so I'm just going to do a shout out for Tony. If you guys can, awakeconsciousawareness.com, or just Google Cosmic Blueprints of Consciousness. Cosmic Blueprints will get you his website. And there's a donate button there that goes direct to Sandy, and she can get that to him somehow. I haven't heard from him since this morning. So
thanks in advance for everybody who's actually doing this right now.
Yeah. There are people that have been helping, and I'll know better for tomorrow night, and I will give the shout out. Thank you for making the difference. Our struggle is ongoing. Just keep that in mind, and that's for the ones that maybe can't right now but can later. Please keep that in mind. This is a day-to-day battle of survival, and we're at that point. And right now, Tony is an epitome of that. Imagine walking the streets of London with
nothing.
Yeah, your computer and basically everything you own.
Really, really bad.
Not knowing where to. not knowing where you're going to go to next or if you're going to be able to eat. And that's my co-host, guys. And reach out, please. That's all. Help me.
You know, the other thing that Critical Mass and Synchronicity is doing is actually outreaching for people's situations. Leaving the Farm has started off putting out different audios of situations that have gone down with the 911 working in tandem with the banks as they're forcefully evicting unlawfully without any paperwork. And, you know, there are various other cases that are going on. Patrick, Gulf War veteran who for 40 years has just been given the finger for treatment or help or anything by Uncle Sam. They're trying to rape him of land, and we're putting this out there. So basically, Synchronicity is about helping everybody. And if you would check out the YouTube channel, you know, if you have a problem, we can do that for you too. But that's the Synchronicity is giving back, and it's all part of being one. And Tony and Kate are, you know, they're forging the way, so we have to help. We have to.
Well, they don't have to. It's a free will choice, right? So.
Well, when I say have to, your conscience will tell you. Don't shut your conscience out.
No, I won't. So, well, we got about 20 seconds, guys. Thank you so much for calling in, and sorry for the bother of the, you know, the up and down with the blog talk today. You know, shit happens, and it always seems to happen to us in that regard. So, we'll see you guys.
Recover.
Exactly. So, thank you all for listening, and have a great night. We're in the recording now, so we're off the air.
I love you.
Love you too, guys. That's why I do this.
I'm trusting and believing that this chokehold is going to break open.
I know it will. I know it will.
Yeah, sooner the better.
I'm just kind of, maybe I'm being selfish, thinking I want to be around to see it. That's all.
Okay, come on now. You're going to be around to see it.
No, I you know, it's going to be dependent on people whether they're going to grab this and wake up, and you know.
Everybody's like a little child, right? Okay.
I know.
We've seen all these toddlers and babies, and you know, give me, feed me, help me, feed me, feed me, help me, feed me. I can't do anything, and so eventually, at some point, they have to wake up. Now, not all of them will at the same time, but I'm believing that what they've heard and the things that you fed and the output and the intent and the karmic energy has got to return at this point.
Well, it will if it's willed, and it won't if it won't. And all I can do is just keep doing what I do for as long as I can, and
I'm going to continue to run energy.
Yeah, and cards fall where they may. No, this is the thing, Pat. You need to understand this with me. I'm good either way. I made my choice. This is my free will choice, and the universe wants me moving forward. I will, and if it doesn't,
that's healthy. That's good. Because if you were hanging on to it, that would not be. That wouldn't be right. If you were clawing to hold on to something that wasn't meant to be, then, you know, you'd be in the wrong place.
Yeah.
So it's obvious that you're not, and that even makes it better.
Well, like I said, all we can do is keep on keeping on the way we're going. We've got beautiful things happening with regards to Dean and Santo, and it's going to be a great show Friday. I know that, and I'm hoping that Tony can be there and get online with us. And you know, where I know he's safe and he's got a roof over his head. You know, he's got food. You know.
He can go into a Wi-Fi, like a cafe or something, right?
That's what he has been doing in order to, you know, to sporadically stay in touch with me. You know, popping into a pub here and there, and but again, you know, you go into these places, first thing they want is you want to sit there, you know, a little coffee or whatever. You're going to have to sit with something, right? And you know, nurse it for as long as you can without getting kicked out, right? So unfortunately, a lot of and I totally get it. You know, people have businesses to run and what have you, that whole mentality. But you know, if they knew what was really going on, those doors would be open, no problem. But we have had a couple of people helping out. He's with a friend right now. For how long? It's precarious at best anyway, but I know he's got a roof over his head tonight, and I will sleep. But I just can't keep waking up every morning trying to figure out what to do and how things are going. And Tony's not very forthright when he talks of these things either. You know, And it's not that he doesn't want to say. It's just that, he's a big boy and he's the same as me. He wants to, take care of it.
Figure it out himself, right?
But I tell you, we've been at the end of our rope too many times this last few months. Yeah, you're right. Something's going to give. It has to. That tsunami wave came in for a reason. But anyway, I'm going to sign up.
I think we're going to see some change that you're not going to be ready for, and I hope you are. At this point, Pat, I'm ready for anything. And hey, whatever is, and I'm good. Okay, honey.
Okay, and that's straight from the heart. So, and thanks, Chris, for badgering me to get something out there. You were one of half a dozen people that were poking away at me. Get it done, and it's it's too busy answering calls to people and answering emails and what have you. And Jim, thank you so much. That was a beautiful story about the land, and that's baby stepping it, buddy, and that's going to make a big difference. Well done.
Well, just trying to figure out, because I know that it's only time, and I'm going to be right where you're at because I'm almost there already. So,
well, we stand together, right?
Yep.
Like an angel. So.
Anyway, love you, Kate. You guys have a good evening.
You too, guys. I love you all, and thank you everyone for listening tonight. And definitely a different show of sorts. We'll catch you guys tomorrow night with Elliot Bernstein and myself, hopefully Tony if he can make it. And we carry on. Torch is high. Much love to everybody.
Get your guitar out.
It's already out. It's
15 minutes.
It sits beside me every day, hon.
Well, do you actually play every day?
No, I played for a bit last night.
That's your zone.
Yeah,
that's the meditation you need to do. 15 minutes at least every day, and just clear that stuff.
Okay, I can do that. All right, guys. I'll catch up with you a bit later, Pat, and
okay.
And we'll catch up with you listeners tomorrow night, 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard until March 31st. Then April 1st, we're back to 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard. Catch you tomorrow night. Much love to everybody. Thank you for listening. And again, thank you, Critical Mass Radio, Paul, Lisa, and the crew, for making this possible, to give us an outreach where we can actually get this information into people. Much love to all. Love you.
Good night.